The Super Speedway Podcast is a Dream Bigger media production. For news, photos, show notes, and information about advertising on the podcast, visit www.thesuperspeedway.com.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 177 of the Super Speedway Podcast, recorded Monday, November 2nd, 2020. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, we missed a week, but we're back.
We did. We got suspended.
Yeah.
It finally happened.
Freaking 72 hours of Texas pushed us a little long, and then real life got in the way, and that was it.
That's it. That's how it happens.
When you got a Martinsville race on Friday night, you get one night to record, and that night gets busy. Guess what? There's no podcast.
Well, and everybody got the bonus iRacing podcasts during the beginning of the pandemic. So I think we're covered with all that, the drudgery that was iRacing at the beginning of this whole thing.
Yeah,
so.
Shoot. I mean, I don't think we hardly took any time off during the pandemic. I mean, we kept it going, trying to keep things going. This is the only thing we've missed, only week we've missed all year. Heck, James had a kid and still made it on for partial podcast, although that was an exercise in frustration.
That was, yes.
But
it was.
But yeah, so last week we missed out.
We got beat.
And we're back this week.
Well, it happens, man. This is not our full-time job, but
exactly.
If
this
people
isn't
pay
even
me
a
like
job, James.
No, I know. We just do this messing around.
It can't be a job because we don't make money on it.
Yeah.
So I spend a lot of money on it.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, I know you have. You've got all the technical equipment. No, but we've got a lot to get into, man. We got 2 races. We got a championship to preview. We've got some. Gosh, man, we've got
controversy.
Fantasy, we've got
controversy,
and I mean, man, we got a lot. We got Larson coming back.
Yeah.
Woo! That's a fully loaded episode.
Well, let's get into it then.
Content.
So we're going to start off with Martinsville, even though we missed Texas. We'll get to Texas. We'll speed through that, but there were some notable things that happened there, so it's worth talking about still, even though we weren't here last week.
Well, I've got things to say.
Yeah, there we go. But let's start with Martinsville. We'll get it out of the way really quick because while it's a big story, that Chase Elliott was able to win his way into the Final Four. It is not the big story, in my opinion. But Chase Elliott gets the win, and we will talk about that in a moment. But let's first start with the biggest thing that happened all season, even with COVID. The best team of the year, 9 wins.
7.6 average finish.
Kevin Harvick misses the Final Four. He was a lock. He was in. Just, 3 weeks ago or something that I said that I'm not sure that I like this system because nobody should have a guaranteed spot in the Final Four.
Yeah, man.
Well, you know what? Kevin Harvick just proved that this system is perfect.
Yeah.
He did.
It's a tournament.
It is. And, I was going to ask you that, James. I know people are upset about this, but you're a basketball fan. I don't think you're super big into the college stuff, but, I mean, how often does the 1 seed make the Final Four?
It
happens, but
yeah, it happens. But why do people love the NCAA tournament? Because the big dogs get knocked out.
Yep,
and that's what happened here.
This system, it's not like this was a surprise. It wasn't a surprise to Harvick's team. They
knew.
Race,
he was.
That's the thing.
Points behind.
If there was a fluke at the end of this thing that made this happen, I'd go, oh man, that really sucks, But they sucked all day.
Yeah, and this ties into Texas a little bit. I mean, what happened at Texas definitely plays a factor in what happened at Martinsville.
I have an argument over that Texas deal,
but this is regardless, Eric. This is the biggest collapse since this playoff format has started. We haven't had a driver. We've had the 8-win guys lose in the championship race, and hell, if Harvick gets to the championship race and loses, I mean, these guys understand what this is.
Yeah.
But to not make the championship race is a disaster.
I would go so far as to argue, James. Now, I don't know the full history of NASCAR. I haven't been, I've been a fan of the sport my whole life, and it's, I'm almost 40, but so it's been a while, but I don't recall in my history, at least, and in the knowledge of the history that I have prior to me watching NASCAR, I don't recall a collapse this big ever. The closest I could think of was Davey Allison in 92.
Yeah, that's a big one. I would chalk up what happened to Carl Edwards in 16 as I mean, that was as stunning as
Yeah, but he
that was as
made it.
stunning as the
He was in the
as
Final Four.
he was, yeah. But the moment itself was completely stunning.
Yeah.
At that moment, this
Wait,
was
is that the Tony Stewart one, or is that the? Yeah, that's
no, that's the Johnson. That's when Johnson
okay.
won in
Yeah,
16.
okay, yeah,
Well, the Tony Stewart tie, that was a good one.
yeah.
But that was momentum building the whole way. That was
Right.
Stewart on a heater.
Yeah, that wasn't a
Um,
collapse. That was just Stewart bettering him.
That was and trash talking him and
Right.
just verbally destroying him.
Well,
and
shoot, trash talking
sort of
himself
stuff.
to start with. I mean, he
Yeah,
trash talked
I'm
his
trying
own
to
team,
think.
and that got the team under him. So
Yeah, that moment in 16 with Edwards and Logano, though, that one sticks out to me. But that was not a collapse. That was just a shocking moment. I think this
well,
collapse.
that was he got racked by Logano in
Yeah,
the
well,
in the
blocking
in the Final
his-
Four. You know.
Yeah, I know, and had been bad on restarts all year, and lost another one, and tried to block him, and Joey, as we know, doesn't give up
Right.
his spots.
Yeah,
and
I don't
that
think you can
cost him.
call that a collapse. I mean,
No, it's not a collapse, not by any means. It's just this collapse itself is shocking.
Yeah.
To me,
and I mean,
Completely shocking.
even if you look back at the Davey Allison season in '92, I mean, that season, they ran great, but they also wrecked a lot. They also had a lot of problems. Allison had injuries. And so I don't know if you could even say that was anywhere near this collapse.
I want to say, I'll throw one more at you. 2006, Tony Stewart missed the chase in
Yeah.
a different format, and that was really strange because he had just won the championship, and then he rattled off like a whole bunch of wins afterwards. But again, that does not match what happened here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that won in each of the first two rounds.
Yeah, I know.
And
just
then-
had a terrible third round.
Yeah, just wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah, and the Chase win, obviously Chase winning moved things around because
Yeah.
he came from elimination to take a spot, and Joey Logano winning, that threw a wrench into things too. So
I mean, let's put it this way, James. This race, if you're NASCAR, if you created this system, this race gave you 99% of what you were looking for with this system.
it was perfect. Yeah, almost perfect.
We had the guy that was out of the four win the race to get in. He won his way in with Chase Elliott.
Yep.
You got the lock didn't make the race.
Yeah,
you got
which NASCAR has to like.
You got the last ditch effort coming out of turn 4 to try and get into that spot.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. In a
Oh
minute,
yeah,
too.
we will. I mean, you had everything that you wanted with
And you
this
had-
system.
And you had Keselowski and Hamlin mixing it up in there because it was separation
Yeah.
by 1 and 2 points
Yep.
all the way to the bitter end.
And you couldn't look away. You could not look away from this race because the entire time we were talking
NBC
1 or 2
didn't
points.
show Chase. They
Yeah.
just didn't show Chase at all.
Yeah, exactly. I was actually pissed when they went to Chase at the end because I wanted to see what Harvick was doing with.
Yeah, we
with
knew
Ky-
Chase
with
had
Kyle.
it. Chase had it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was man, it was tense. That was as tense as because I could not believe as I'm watching it. I still the whole race I thought, oh, Kevin's gonna catch a break.
yeah. Oh,
pe-
I totally was on. I was with you.
He's gonna catch a break. It's gonna be fine.
Yep.
He's gonna make up those positions. And
When he
it's
got his
the
lap
laps
back,
are winding down.
When he got the lap back, it's like, yeah, here we go. It's done.
Yeah,
Harvick's gonna
he's
get
gonna
in.
make it. Yeah, and the penalty to Keselowski, I thought, okay, he's gonna be fine.
Right.
He's gonna make it. And I'm watching 25 laps to go, 20 to go, 15 to go, and I'm like, oh man.
Even at the
he's
end,
not gonna make it.
with 5 to go, I'm thinking, when's the caution going to come out? There's going to be a caution. I mean, we did have the advantage of Chase Elliott being in the lead, so what's the chances NASCAR is going to throw a caution? But
Right, and I was gonna say too. I think the 4 team messed up a little bit here by not telling him where he needed to be.
I think so too.
I think he should have known he was a point back.
Yeah, I would not be happy if I was Kevin Harvick in that situation.
Yeah, because
be
then
having
you're
some
screaming at
talks.
him with 1 lap to go get it, and
Yeah.
you know.
So let's not. We'll get back to Harvick in a minute, but let's not look away from the fact that Chase Elliott did what he had to do. Not only did he do what he had to do, but he dominated this race. Aside from Martin Truex, if Martin Truex wouldn't have had trouble, there might have been a battle at the end, which was I was looking forward to that. Man, I wanted to see 2 guys that needed to win to get in, rubbing and slamming into each other coming to the line for the checkers. I wanted to see fisticuffs after this race. I wanted to see somebody ticked off. To me, that's the only thing we didn't get from this race was a fight at the end. But if Kyle wouldn't have
could
left the
have.
premises so fast, we might have had one.
You know,
But
if Kyle was still in the chance
Yeah.
to make the playoffs or
Oh,
something,
yeah.
he would have. Yeah.
oh yeah. But yeah, I mean, Chase did everything he had to do and ran a spectacular race at a track that he's really good at. So it wasn't really a surprise, but just heck of a day. And again, I mean, Truex did it too. Truex did everything he needed to do until they screwed up with that loose wheel. But
Yeah, he was in position.
but let's talk about Chase. Chase did screw up. They screwed up twice on pit stops. They had a slow pit stop, and they had to come back in, right, to tighten the lugs.
Yeah, they had to come back in once.
And then we had the pit stop where the jack man jumped too early and did something none of us knew you could do, and reset the penalty, and there was no penalty. So
way to go for the team there, because that saved him.
that was a Chad
move right
Knaus
there.
moment without Chad Knaus.
Yeah, right.
That's the
It's
type of
just-
stuff Chad used to do. That's the type of stuff that Chad used to know, is
Yeah.
how to get out of those things when you screw up.
Do you remember how much heat Alan Gustafson was getting earlier in this year and late last year for some of the stuff that happened to Chase?
Yeah.
But preparation, right?
Yep.
The team was ready, and then that moment, that Jackman, I mean, they lost spots because of it, but he saved the race.
He was so quick to respond and go back, knew exactly what he needed to do. So let's talk about that for a second, James. Are we good with that call? Are we
Oh, for
okay
sure.
with that?
Yeah, the penalty was served when he had to go back to the wall. That's a penalty, and it doesn't score as a penalty, but it is what it is. But they corrected the right. It's just like stepping over the line and reversing the car backwards.
Right.
Things like that. Right.
The only argument that I have, and it's a weak argument because I think that this is right, and I think this is the way NASCAR should police it. I'm good with it. The only argument that I have is I believe this rule is in place for safety reasons. And to have the jackman jump across pit road and then jump back across pit road and then jump back across pit road again is probably a little less safe than if he just does it right the first time. But
and NASCAR's got to call it straight from here on out.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's the rule. We've seen it happen now. It's been called like it is. I don't want to, let's not waffle, and let's just make it, that's the rule. Go back to the wall and reset.
Now I could see a way to overcomplicate this and do it like hockey and offsides, and that if the jackman goes too early, everybody has to reset and blah blah blah. But no, I think this is good. I think the way it was called was perfect. I think the fact that they knew what they needed to do was perfect. All out. I mean, I'm happy with the way it went, and I'm sure the decision was easier with it being Chase Elliott. Not to put that pressure on NASCAR, but I think that there's certain calls that go certain ways when it's a fan favorite. I think they're more careful with fan favorites than they are with others, and I mean, they're human, so you'd expect that, I guess. I'm not going to criticize them for it necessarily, but
well, it's like
again, like you said,
it's like in any other sport, right? Michael Jordan used to get all the calls.
Yep.
That's what they used to say, right?
Yep.
So
as long as they call it this way from here forward, and now everybody knows this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But like you said, that was my example earlier in the day or yesterday. Is if you go over the line, you back up before you service the car, you don't get a penalty.
Yes.
You know, if you pass below the yellow line on a restrictor plate track or a super speedway track and then give your position back, you don't get a penalty.
Right, you're serving it. You're self-serving your own penalty.
Exactly. If you blow through a chicane on a road course and you stop, you don't get a penalty. So
at the Roval, right? That's a big thing at the last chicane at the Roval.
And you can argue that they served a penalty there. There was a time
they did.
They it wasn't as big of a penalty, no, but they served a penalty. So there you go.
Yeah. And
he didn't get an advantage from it, at least. That's the biggest thing.
Right. Yeah, and just to maybe cap the Chase thing here, this dude has come so far in the last couple of years. I mean, just I was worried about him there for a little while this first couple of years when he was in the 24 car, and it just seemed like he just wasn't quite there yet. But that's young, that's being a young driver, right?
Right.
But this win is just monumental for his progress, and we'll talk about the championship and what we think of him as a contender now. But regardless, I mean, he's stamped. He's stamping his legacy in real time right in front of our eyes. This is like Jeff Gordon breaking through, Tony Stewart breaking through. Like, this is his first real shot at a championship now. And he's got a chance to get one. And it's just, walk off home run, all the stuff, all those sports cliches you can think of. The kid delivered. When championship contenders all around were failing and fading. Harvick, Hamlin wasn't good. The 19 team, they messed up big. When it all was on the line, one guy stepped up and just put a whooping on him, and it it's a career-defining moment. I mean, this is Chase becoming elite right here. We know what he can do on road courses, and he's won almost on every discipline now in his young career. But this is next level for him now.
Let me take it one step further. Okay, so Chase Elliott won his 10th race this weekend. That puts him 61st on the all-time Cup Series win list. That's How many Cup Series drivers have there been? There's been a lot. 61st.
Clint Boyer's about to retire with 10 wins.
Yep. So he is tied with Clint Boyer's 60th with 10 wins. Sterling Marlin has 10 wins. Here's some other guys around him. Tim Richmond only has 13 wins. Yeah. Kyle Petty 8 wins. AJ Foyt 7 wins. Jamie McMurray 7 wins. Kyle Larson 6 wins. Ward Burton 5 wins. Alan Kowicki 5 wins. Jeremy Mayfield 5 wins.
Yeah, that Larson number is about to change.
Oh yeah, it will. It'll change next season for sure. For sure. As a matter of fact, he could be competing with that 10-win number by the end of next season. But
very soon, yeah.
But I mean, that's just he's not a guy that lucked in. I mean, Ernie Irvan has 15 wins at 54th. I mean, this isn't a guy that's lucked into this position now. He's like you said, he's an elite driver now. He is in that company, and now he's just going to build that resume because he's young.
Yeah, now he's at the resume stage of his career, right? He's gotta, I mean, hell, if he gets this if he can bank a championship at his age, Kyle Busch didn't get a championship this young.
No.
And he's got a chance to go out there and win some milestone races and I mean Eric
he also wasn't racing Jimmy Johnson in his prime, but
yeah, sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. But there you go. He's racing Kyle Busch in his prime.
That's true.
It all comes around. But
true.
Next year
he won how many more races than Kyle Busch this year?
quite a few now. Yeah. But next year with all the road course races, I mean, he's got a chance to continue to add to his numbers here.
Yeah,
so
that's 6 wins for Chase Elliott next year.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just so impressed with what that team did. Hendrick Motorsports is not the class of the field like it once was.
No, but they're getting better.
They're getting better. They're getting younger.
Yeah.
They're getting
leaner.
They're
going to get really good next year.
Yeah, they got drivers on low salaries that are super talented, and Chase Elliott, leading the stable here, moving forward. Man, just huge. I'm just so impressed with Chase. I mean, that was big time.
I agree. So on the last lap, coming out of turn 4, Kevin Harvick decided to take a last ditch. He called it a Hail Mary, and turned Kyle Busch. And Kyle spun, did a 360, crossed the line, and finished the same position. Harvick wrecked, finished several spots back from where he was going to finish. So instead of missing the final 4 by 1 point, he missed by several. What do we think of the move on Kyle Busch?
That's what NASCAR wants, right?
Yeah, that's okay. That's the cop out. What do we actually think about the move on Kyle Busch?
Oh, it's dirty. I mean, it's a dirty move.
I think that this move cements an already pretty clear picture of how other drivers should race Kevin Harvick. And I get Kevin Harvick used to be the hothead, and now he's the family guy, and he's the fan favorite, whatever. This kind of gives me a Carl Edwards feel here, in that Carl was the happy, good guy, and everybody loved Carl, but Carl had a dirty side. And so we've seen Harvick twice now in his career make...
Yeah, but...
No, listen, let me finish.
All right, finish. Go ahead.
We've seen him twice in his career make dirty moves like this to try and seal his spot in the playoffs. He did it at Talladega a few years ago. He did it here at Martinsville. It didn't work this time. It worked last time. Yeah. We've also seen him rough up Kyle. It was a bump out of the way at New Hampshire when he won the race with him, but it also was probably an unnecessary bump. And now let's reverse the roles here, because a lot of people are like, well, Kyle would have done the same thing in the same situation. I don't know that he would have. So Kyle has... he's got the reputation from the Ron Hornaday accident, that sort of thing. But if you really look at Kyle as a driver, he got into Dale Jr. I still don't feel that was intentional. Kyle's not generally a dirty driver. And I think the example of this, James, that shows you that Kyle wouldn't have done this is Kyle was more worried about a win this year than he was about making the playoffs and winning the championship. And when he had the chance at Bristol to win a race that he should have won, the exact same guy who just wrecked him to get into to try and get into the final 4, Kyle had a couple shots at wrecking him to get that win at Bristol and didn't take it. That's why I don't think Kyle would have done this.
It's a little bit higher stakes for this race than it is for a race win, man.
I don't agree.
I don't agree with anything you said.
That being said, I don't think NASCAR should step in or anything. I certainly don't think this should be penalized. I think this is something that should be policed by the drivers, and I think the drivers should remember that Kevin Harvick, when put up against the wall, will make a dirty move to try and advance himself. Is that wrong? I'm not saying it's wrong, James. I'm not saying that this is the wrong thing to do. I'm just saying that is the classification that he now has. That was a dirty, dirty, dirty move. I mean, come on, man.
Eric,
that was. I mean, I don't know. He wasn't going to hurt Kyle. Chances of Kyle getting hurt in that situation weren't very great, but it was dirty. I would let's put it this way. I know this is probably Harvick's last chance to win a championship. It very arguably could be his last chance to win a championship. He had the best season of anybody. Certainly should have been the favorite to win the championship. Was the favorite to win the championship. Should be racing for it on Sunday next weekend. But I still personally, in his shoes, would not want to get into the Final Four like that. I would feel that cloud hanging over me. And that being said, James, if he would have gotten in based on that maneuver, I think he puts NASCAR, whether NASCAR wants it or not, he puts them in a position that they have to look at that.
I'd like to add to your defense to anti-defense here. When Kyle Busch hooked Harvick on the front stretch at Darlington in 2011, I'd like to put that on
2011
on the record, just for the record. Remember when they got in their little fight there?
There's a difference, though. There's a difference. That was.
Isn't that what Harvick did? The pit maneuver on the front stretch?
Did you go to the Donald Trump school of arguments, man? Let me talk, dude.
What's more dangerous, 170 miles an hour on the front stretch at Darlington or 72 miles an hour out of the corner at Martinsville?
The difference is when you get run up the track and you take a retaliatory move versus just blatantly taking somebody out. That has nothing to do.
Look that one up. No, here's my defense of Kevin Harvick. Listen, Eric, it's a dirty move.
You know, I can mute your mic, by the way. I can just.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah,
I can just be the only one that talks.
Yeah, everybody knows who's in control here.
Yeah.
Listen, it's a dirty move. We all can agree with that. I would have rather have seen Kevin do the bump and run style.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't just run it. I mean, I guess he had a little bit of ground to make up, but I feel like he could have dive bombed him into 3.
Yeah, but the team screaming in his ear at the exact same time that he's going through that corner, go get him. You know, that's part of it too. But I mean, what is he supposed to do? Go, take the Martin Truex Jr. approach and just say, he's gone. Dude, not do anything at all.
When you suck all day like they did, I mean.
Or is Kevin Harvick just smarter than everybody else by saying, you know what, I need this point no matter what. I have to face these guys in my shop. I have to get this point. And he's done it twice now. Like you said, he's done it twice where, it's all on the line and he's trying to advance in the playoffs.
Well, let's play a game. Let's
That's why I say, and just to finish it off real quick, that's why I say this is a system problem, not a Kevin Harvick problem. I think he's not a dirty driver. He's a good driver that made a dirty move to try to advance.
I don't think he's a dirty driver, but I think when his back against the wall, he has the capability of being. And I don't think that.
Don't they all? Eric, don't they all?
No, I don't know because let's play a game, James. Let's put different drivers in that position in this situation. Harvick, before going into this, with that last lap, I knew Harvick was going to try to do something because that's Harvick. Of course. Alex Bowman's in those shoes. Does Alex Bowman make that move? I don't think he does.
Eric, I think 90% of the drivers.
I don't think he does. Alex Bowman doesn't make that move. Does Jimmy Johnson make that move? No. Jimmy Johnson doesn't make that move.
I don't know.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr.? Hell yeah. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. probably wrecked him going into turn 1.
Eric, if Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has 9 wins and 61 playoff points and is about to miss the cut at Martinsville,
I don't buy the argument that everybody would do it, James. I do not buy that argument.
Eric,
I'm not trying to change anything. I'm glad he did it. I'm glad that we got to talk about it.
Yeah,
but I don't think everybody would have done it.
Put drivers in desperate situations. They're gonna pull some crap.
I agree. I agree. This playoff. The system creates this, but I don't agree that everybody would do it.
I'm not ready to lump Kevin Harvick into the Clint Boyers of the world where they've done some really shady crap.
This is not a penalized thing. This is not something he should be penalized for.
No, I agree.
I do think that if he would have gotten in on it, NASCAR would have to look at it, but I would still hope that they didn't penalize him for it.
No, absolutely not.
But This is not that category. This isn't Jeff Gordon wrecking Clint Boyer at Phoenix. This is not that type of thing. This isn't Kenseth and Logano, but this is, I don't know. It still puts an extra classification on Harvick.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth ended somebody's championship chances and is loved for it.
Well, and that's the thing is I have less of an issue of something like this.
That's the dirtiest thing I've ever seen.
The thing is, I think
what Matt Kenseth did.
Yeah, oh yeah, I agree with you 100%.
That is the dirtiest move in the history of the sport.
And I just said Kyle Busch wouldn't do this sort of thing, but what Busch did to Hornaday was the dirtiest too. And that was worse.
Yeah.
But that being said, that's not Kyle anymore, and I think Kyle learned a lot from that. Kyle learned the same stuff. Kyle had a similar situation to Larson in that, except Kyle didn't lose his job. He lost a sponsor for a part of a time. But
he got suspended by his own sponsor.
Yeah, his sponsor backed off for the rest of the season. But he was able to redeem himself. So I don't know. It's dirty. It was a dirty move. I love that it happened? Yeah, I love that it happened, and I'm a Kyle Busch fan. Yeah, and in the end, it didn't affect anything. So
I just don't think it's a Harvick problem. I think it's a system problem, and I think Eric.
I don't think it's just a Harvick problem.
NASCAR, no, it's not. NASCAR wants these types of things.
Yeah, they do. 100%. They do. Yeah. And now that's not to say they wouldn't penalize somebody for it, because they still would.
Yep.
But.
Oh yeah. Well, and this transitions nicely into Eric Jones not roughing up Denny Hamlin for that spot. You know?
I actually have a problem with this too, James, but not for the reason that you think.
Oh, go for it. I want to hear it.
I wish Jones would have frickin' wrecked him. I wanted Jones to say, just stick it to JGR and say, you know what? I'm not with you guys next year. Park me next week. I don't care. I got to ride next season. I'm taking you out.
Yeah, I was hoping he'd take the spot. I wouldn't necessarily want him to wreck him, but I was hoping he'd race him hard.
I would have loved to see Jones just pass and wave out the window and say, hey, see ya.
Oh, give him the bird on the way by.
Oh,
yeah. I would have loved. Oh, that just and strictly not because I don't like Denny Hamlin. That's not where I'm coming from.
Same here.
I like chaos.
Yeah.
And that would have been chaos.
Well, and I feel for Eric Jones. I feel he's getting the wrong end of the deal. I mean, it's business, and that's what happens. And I think, based on the stats and what we've got, I think JGR is making the right decision in the end. But it sucks for Eric Jones, and I'm an Eric Jones fan, and I'd love to see him stick it to him. And I like JGR.
Yeah, I do too. I have no problems with those guys, and I mean, we've talked plenty of times on how much we like Eric Jones.
I mean, I watch NASCAR anymore like I used to watch like Big Brother and Survivor though. James I just want everybody to hate each other. I don't like this friendly stuff. If they all hate each other,
we all like
mad,
chaos.
Yeah, that's what I'm good with. So, but no, as far as what he did, I don't think Jones did anything wrong.
No, company man. That's what teammates do. I mean, it does. It happens. Eric, every single race, teammates are giving other teammates slack.
Exactly. Well, I mean, look at restarts and how many times teammates have let teammates in. It's the same thing.
Of course. There's points handed out from teammate to teammate every week, and we talk about Harvick dumping Kyle Busch. He easily, Stewart Haas Racing could have easily waved Clint Boyer and Eric Almirola down pit lane.
Yeah.
And then gotten a whole bunch of crap for that. So
you get into really sticky territory when you start talking about influence in the finish of a race, because everything we do influences the finish of a race.
Absolutely.
I mean, Chase Elliott influenced the finish of the race. He won the race. He went out and passed everybody. I mean, so where do you draw the line? It's tough. I mean, when something happens like what happened with Boyer and they've got all the evidence back in the day, I mean.
Well, the itchy arm,
Yeah, I mean, they had to call that, although still Jeff Gordon getting in the playoffs. I don't know. But
that was a
13 cars in the playoffs of a 12
in a 12 car playoff. Yeah.
Whatever. But we don't need to go back there, thankfully. But no, I think no calls on this. I think although I don't think NASCAR's made a ruling on the Harvick thing yet, I don't think they should make a call.
They're not
there.
going to. They won't do anything with Harvick, and they shouldn't do anything with Jones, and they didn't.
Yeah.
And they didn't. So
yeah, I mean, so. What else? You have in the notes the greatest meaningless season ever, which I think we've already kind of discussed that, right?
That's Harvick. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, I mean, 9 wins, Eric.
It really is. And, it is a meaningless season.
Meaningless season for
and
Kevin Harvick.
Very likely, very possibly his last chance.
Could possibly be. We don't know. I mean, this car's coming back next year. Maybe he runs it back one more time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Hamlin put together a better year his second run through, so. Maybe Harvick.
I mean, Harvick's a contender every year until he's not.
Yeah. Well, so was Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, and championships are fleeting for these guys. Yeah. It's very tough to win them and to not even have a shot at it now.
Do you think that this shows that it's harder to win them now? That's what Harvick said.
Yeah, and I agree with him. It is harder to win them now.
Yeah, I think so.
Of course. He would have Nick Brownberg, I actually I wasn't happy he tweeted this, but he said, well, if it was the old original point system, he'd have clinched at Texas. Well, we're still doing that after 17 years.
Right.
Like it's been changed for a long time.
It's harder to win the championship than it used to be, but I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, we've got a lot of parity.
And again, my argument against this system was a couple weeks ago that I thought that you could get locked in too easily to the Final Four based on your regular season performance, and obviously you can't. So this is perfect. Harvick had every advantage that anybody could have to make the Final Four and didn't make it, and that's fair.
There was a chance that we had Harvick and Hamlin miss this championship race. There was, that was in play there for a while. That's just crazy. It was just crazy.
Yep.
I did put in the notes real quick though that Keselowski, I thought he drove. They had that penalty on pit road, which was his fault.
Mm-hmm.
But Eric, his drive to the end to finish that race was just some of the best. Controlled, just moving through the field under pressure.
Controlled, aggressive.
Yes, I just was so impressed with Brad late in that race. I mean, they had him on camera obviously because he was the cut man for Kevin, but
he's got to be the favorite now, right?
Well, we're gonna get in there here pretty soon, but yeah, I think we've got Penske 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Coming into Phoenix, but yeah, he's gonna be tough. He's gonna be a problem.
I think he's definitely got to be. Everybody needs to be watching for him because not only is he good in this package, not only is he bringing a car to Phoenix that has been excellent for him. Not only is he on the same tire that they ran at New Hampshire that was perfect for him, but they're also peaking at the right time. I mean, you can't ask for much more.
And that dude behind the wheel, he doesn't get the credit of like a Kyle Busch.
We've talked about it before. He's a really underrated driver for what
he is. He's one of the greats of his time. Yeah. And he just doesn't, he doesn't get the recognition, but under pressure, when that dude's backed against the wall, he makes some pretty remarkable drives.
Yeah.
And he did it again on Sunday. He's not going to, he doesn't win the championship, we'll forget it someday. But if he wins the championship, it's because of what he did Sunday, because he drove just perfect down the stretch. Didn't have to win the race, just needed to get the spots, and he got every damn one that he needed.
Brad Keselowski's in Kevin Harvick's spot. Does he spin him? Does he spin him?
He might.
I don't think he does.
I think he does.
I don't think Keselowski does it.
I think a lot of guys do that.
I don't think he does, James.
Don't
think
we're
so.
Be debating this all off.
Every time you talk about a driver that is respected, I'm gonna throw him into that situation. Brad Keselowski, by the way, 24th on the all-time win list, 34 wins.
Yeah, he's
pretty good.
Slot.
It's pretty good.
Yep, and he's on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, right. He has one more win than Fireball Roberts has.
Yeah.
2 more wins than Dale Jarrett. 2 more wins than Kurt Busch. He's got more wins than Carl Edwards.
Yeah, 2 more wins than Dale Jarrett, and he's got one equal championship. So
he's ahead.
Maybe 2 here.
He's ahead of Martin Truex Jr., Dale Earnhardt Jr., Joey Logano, Ricky Rudd, Terry Labonte, Jeff Burton, Bobby Labonte.
Martin Truex Jr. tried to catch Brad Keselowski lately, but
second place finishes don't count toward. So Martin Truex Jr.'s team was nice enough to wait or to choke one race earlier this year instead of waiting until the final to do it.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, it sucks. Yeah, I wanted to see Truex. Well, I wanted to see him win because he was my pick. But
yeah, you did pick him. Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. There was a point in that race, James, where other than Harvick, I was really good on fantasy, and then it just all went to crap.
It did.
I had like 4 guys in a row running top 4. It was.
Well, and I'm really dumb too because in fantasy I picked Chase Elliott to win the race, and when we did our picks via text, I picked Hamlin for some dumb reason.
I don't know why you did that.
Not smart.
Yeah.
Just not smart.
Yep. All right. Anything else with Martinsville to discuss?
Oh man, there was so much. Great race, just fantastic. Keep it where it's at on the schedule. I love it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
William Byron knocked the wall down. You don't hit much harder than William Byron hit the wall.
Yeah, that was a big hit.
What about Clint Boyer just dumping his teammate?
Yeah, I felt like that was all Clint's fault, and then he got mad at Eric.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then they finished 7th and 8th.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I think that's a situation where Clint's like, I'm not coming back. I don't care. I'm not going to take a crap.
For sure. I don't have to talk to this guy ever again.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I thought that was funny.
that was classic Clint. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that really stood out.
If Clint's in Kevin Harvick's position,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, he
he
takes him
wrecks
out.
Kyle. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He wrecks Kyle in half the field.
Oh, for sure.
Instead of taking the corner, he just drives right through the infield and just wrecks everything.
Oh, for sure. He is a chaos.
But he'll
agent,
do it with a
LaFleur.
smile on his face and laugh when he comes out of the car.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I don't think there's really much else to talk about. Some mid pack finishes stuff, but I mean, obviously the big story of the day was Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick.
Yep.
So I think we covered all that. So let's talk Texas really quick. Speaking of Kevin Harvick, we'll talk about him a little bit more. But first, Kyle Busch.
KFB
keeps the streak alive. James gets his win. 16 seasons in a row, right? 17 now? 16? What
16,
is it?
16 in a row. And as far as I can tell, that is one of the longest with Johnson. I think Johnson went 16. So Kyle, Kyle's got a chance to extend that streak to 25. Let's be honest.
Yeah, he doesn't have another season like this next year, right? I mean, I guess we're running the same car, but
it's more fun when Kyle's, arrogant.
Yeah.
He was definitely, he forgot to bow.
Yeah.
It
was kind of fun to see him a little bit humbled and at the finish line.
Maybe he needed it, Eric.
Yeah. Maybe.
It happens to the best drivers. I mean, they all have a weird, wonky season.
I mean, Brexton had won before Kyle did this year, so.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, he did.
That's gotta be tough.
Yep. Yeah. It was just a weird season, but you said it. You kept. I was pushing back on you. You said I think he's gonna do it, and I just thought, man, he is so far away from winning a race. But
it's funny that it happens at Texas, and I don't think Kyle draws this conclusion, but Texas has been a really bad track for Kyle in his career. This was where he got suspended after wrecking Hornaday in the Truck Series. This was where he got parked for flipping off the NASCAR official and all that crap that he did then. I mean, this is a bad track for him. He has imploded at Texas many times. So, but he's won there before too. So, I mean,
yeah, it's an impressive streak. I hope that he comes back next year and puts together. So, I mean, he's had, it's not like he doesn't have 1-win seasons on his resume. I mean, he had a really bad 2014. He had a really bad 2012, I guess, considering. So, he's got these weird wonky seasons on his resume, but yeah, he's I think that team's going to look different. I mean, it doesn't sound like, it sounded to me like Adam Stevens is already out the door at the end of this year by the way Kyle was talking after that race. So, I don't know. I think that team's going to look a lot different, but yeah, I hope he comes back and is at least, somewhat of the Kyle Busch we've seen before. Cause I like the sport's more fun when you've got, Kyle, up there winning races and making everybody ticked.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Yep.
And I like the fans being a little ticked off too, because he's winning races. So
yeah,
I mean, this year wouldn't have been as much fun because you wouldn't have gotten all the boos with no fans in the stands. But
yep. Yeah, so his 2020 resume, he's got 3 truck wins, Eric, in 5 starts. He got 1 Xfinity win in 5 starts, and now he's got his Cup win. So he's still adding to his what is it, 212 total wins now.
Well, let me take the negative Kyle Busch view. In 2020, he missed advancing in the playoffs, and he lost the bounty in the Truck Series. So
he did lose the bounty. Yeah, remember that? Yep. That seems like it was forever ago.
Long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
All right. We had a hell of a rain delay at Texas.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that played that rain delay played a role in Kyle getting that win, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And I don't know that we probably even should have started that race. I think Kevin Harvick probably would argue we shouldn't have ran as long as we did.
Yeah.
But here's my argument on the Kevin Harvick deal. Kevin Harvick hit a wet spot, got in the PJ1, hit the wall. But 40 drivers started that race. 40 drivers went through that same corner. Yeah. And only one hit the wall. Hamlin had trouble too, but Hamlin didn't hit the wall. So, it sucks, but everybody was in the same situation Harvick was. So I don't find it unfair to Harvick any more than it was unfair to everybody else. Harvick just happens to be the one that hit the wall. And he can pinpoint it, but I don't think Harvick didn't play the victim on it. Harvick didn't blame it this weekend on
they were up to like 8th at one point in that race before they faded again. But yeah, they patched the car, but it was definitely not the same car that obviously it was when they started.
Well, supposedly that was an undefeated car. too.
Yeah, well,
So,
and you can make the best car in the world look pretty mediocre when you slap the wall like he did.
yeah, he had it
And,
pretty good.
Yeah, and the water doesn't like the PJ1. It doesn't soak in.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it turns into oil slick basically.
Yeah, maybe that's
Yeah,
an argument not to put PJ1 down on a track. I don't know.
Well, I was looking at the onboard cameras and I'm just screaming like, why are we going green? It is so wet.
Yeah.
I just could not believe it. I honestly could not believe that NASCAR dropped the green flag on it. I mean, that reminded me of the All-Star race back in the 90s. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Where they wadded them all up in turn one and
Yep.
they let the teams break out their backup cars.
I think the biggest thing was that there was nothing in the forecast for this mist. It wasn't on the radar, and NASCAR figured they were better off keeping the track warm because it was going to go away than they were to throw the red and park everybody and waste a bunch of time. So
flipping Wednesday.
Yeah, till Wednesday.
Wednesday.
You know, man, I would like to know on a race that had very few fans, how much money was spent by that facility, because SMI has to pay for those all the jet dryers and the Titans and the fuel and all that stuff. I wonder how much money SMI paid to dry that track, because those things ran nonstop for 3 days, man.
And it was just the weirdest misty rain deal that we've ever seen.
It was crazy. And NASCAR was having some fun on the radio talking about the Employee 500 and stuff. So, I mean, everybody was in pretty good spirits for what we were dealing with.
Oh, it was terrible.
Man, it was awful. I mean, I lived through the Michigan one. Well,
I was there, man.
Yeah,
I was at that race.
I lived through Sunday and then went home. I didn't stick it out for the other 2 days.
I showed up on Tuesday. We ran 10 caution laps and they parked them because the fog got so bad. And we're like, we are never leaving this track. And I think that is as close as we've come to what happened on Wednesday, because, that was just.
Well, and the best thing is they got them all in.
They got it in. They got the race in.
Yep.
I mean, it took forever, but they got it in.
Yeah.
So yeah, if Harvick doesn't hit the wall, it's I don't know if we're having the conversation we had about Martinsville at all. I think he probably wins that race. But
yeah,
that's Eric. If we're gonna chalk it up to that's racing.
Yep.
Even in the rain.
Couple other notables in that race: Christopher Bell with third place finish and a car that could have potentially won that race. He was good. He was excellent. That bodes well for him moving over to the big team next year. Bubba Wallace, Matt Kenseth, man, they ran a lap after the rain delay.
After 72 hours, yeah.
Yeah, and wreck. Bubba was pretty ticked off. It wasn't Kenseth's fault. Some people wanted to blame Denny Hamlin. It wasn't Denny Hamlin's fault. Kenseth just got loose, and Hamlin had nowhere to go, and there you go. So,
Eric, this is how we write the last chapter on Matt Kenseth's Cup career.
Yeah. Yep.
Really, really bad.
Yeah. This whole season, man. Had a couple bright spots, and otherwise it's just not been good.
We didn't even talk about what he did at Martinsville, cutting down Harvick's tire. That played a big role in what happened. So I guess he was a factor at some point.
Yeah.
Kyle Larson has more top tens than him this year.
That's funny.
Oh,
that's rough.
What a bad run. What
really
a bad
rough.
run.
That's rough.
What a bad run. I feel vindicated on how bad he's been.
Yeah, you're right. You won that battle. 100%.
He did almost win the Brickyard, though. We should caution everybody. He did. He was right there for the Brickyard.
Yeah. I don't think any other surprises with Texas. I mean, it was pretty much a race.
That was just survival.
Yeah.
That race was survival.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's skip the championship four. We'll run through the news real quick, and then we'll get into the championship four with our picks.
Yeah, let's bang it out.
All right. So news. I mean, this already is, everybody's talked about it, and it's really not a big deal anymore. And it really wasn't when it was announced, because everybody knew it was going to happen. We talked about it multiple times in the show. But the only thing we didn't know was the car number. Kyle Larson's going to go to Hendrick in 2021. Multi-year deal. He'll drive the 5 car. No sponsors yet announced. They retire they don't retire it because you don't retire numbers in NASCAR, but the 88 goes away. 5 car will replace it. I mean, we knew it was going to happen. I think, like we said, I think Larson comes out strong next year. What do you think, James?
Yeah, it's going to be good. I think there's going to be a little bit of, he's going to have to kind of, relearn some stuff after being out of the car for so long. But he's a pro.
Is he really? Driver. I mean, he didn't really have to. What did it take him, like a week to learn the sprint car again and go out and then win?
I mean, I know he's great. No, he's a great driver. There's no doubt about it.
He's going to be in better equipment than he was at CGR. Not only that, but he's also, when Hendrick is, excelling again somewhat. It's coming at the perfect time.
through a pandemic. We had Larson have his issues, and the whole world changed.
Yep.
But Larson to Hendrick was going to happen regardless.
Yep.
It's just that Rick got to put a couple less zeros on the check.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's really. I mean, this was bound to happen. I think.
Larson's been on several things. He was on Dale Jr. Download last week, along with Rick Hendrick. Apparently, Jeff Gordon had a lot to do with this deal too, which doesn't surprise me.
He loves Larson.
Yeah,
loves him.
I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, this is a guy that again we have not seen. James. I think we declared maybe this season or last season. I think we declared that we were finally over the Larson fanfare. But I still think there's a lot here to this kid that we just haven't seen yet out of him.
Yeah. And now he's got real equipment. I mean, that CGR team is always up and down. And look what happened to that team when he left.
Yep. Yeah.
I know Kurt's done some stuff, and Kurt's a great driver. But I mean, when Larson left, that team it's not relevant anymore. So
I agree.
He's going to do well here. I mean, this sets him up. I mean, this is it for him. Championship or bust for this guy now. I mean, the ceiling is the championship, and everything else I think is disappointment now because this is it for him. Great driver, great team.
I mean, I'd already felt that he'd served his time, but hearing him talk and hearing some of the stuff that he's done, especially during the pandemic, even I think he's on the right track. He's doing the right stuff. I think he's sincere, and I'm happy to see him back.
Yep, and we should note that he's not allowed to drive until January. He's still not suspended, I guess, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think he'd technically be suspended. He was indefinitely suspended for NASCAR.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, so suspended until January 1st, but they wanted to let people know he's coming back so he can get sponsorship lined up. And I think he will. I mean, Chevy seems to be back on board. And looks like he's got some heavy hitters in the CEO ranks that are willing to, fork over something to put their name on his car. So,
you got a note here on Bubba Wallace. I'll let you get to that in a second, but I wanted to. There was some Bubba Wallace news this week too. At Texas during the rain delays, he decided to have a little fun with the commentators and suggested that everybody had assumed that the number was going to be 23 on the car from the 2311 racing team, but that nobody had announced a number yet. And everybody started checking the tweets and checking the announcements. And wait, did they announce a number? He was just trolling them. It's just Bubba. But we did learn last week that the 2311 team will be a Toyota car and support from JGR, which I don't think that was about as secret as the Larson deal. But yeah, so that was confirmed.
And the car number not a surprise.
Yeah, 23, big shocker.
Yeah. I love that car.
The car looks good. I hope that it actually looks like that, and that's not just maybe whatever sponsor they slap on it will fit with that scheme because it's a pretty sweet looking scheme.
I love the font they chose for the 23 as well. Yeah. It's just I'm so excited about this.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. I hope to see Bubba come out and contend. I really do. I think next year is going to be a learning year. I don't think we should expect him to go out and win the Daytona 500. But
he's going to have some horses underneath his hood.
I expect some stuff from them next year.
It's going to be the first year is going to be a bump, but and if they get their stuff in order for 2022 with the new car, they'll be just fine.
Yep.
Decent, a good driver. He's a good driver. Listen, we're not talking about Kyle Larson here, but this is a good driver, a talented young guy, and with the Gibbs stuff and Toyota TRD under the hood, he's going to have as good of a shot as a lot of guys out there. And
he's now the most well-known driver, right, James?
Yeah. There was a survey that said that people who don't watch, there was the diehards like us, Eric, right? We know everybody.
Yeah.
But 42% of black adults say they are more interested in NASCAR now, and the country as a whole, they know the name Bubba Wallace. And I think that has a lot to do with,
MJ.
MJ is a big part of it. I mean, he's been in the news for lots of stuff. But yeah, when you've got Jordan, everybody knows what Jordan is. They know they know the basketball player. They know the shoes. He's an icon, and now Bubba Wallace is lumped in with Jordan. So he's a Jordan athlete, and it's going to be great. I'm happy for him, man. He's a good person and deserves this. I find it hard to believe anybody else deserves a shot like this other than him. And he's he's one of the good ones, and I'm hoping to see him do some really good stuff.
How many years until there's a second car here with Denny Hamlin's name on the roof?
Well, how many years has he got left on his Gibbs contract?
I don't know. How many years is Harrison Burton got left in the Xfinity Series?
1.
I think Harrison Burton might be destined for that 11 car. So
yeah, HB's coming for somebody's seat, and it's either Truex or Hamlin. So
yep.
Or maybe KFB does bring his team up eventually down the road. I don't know. I mean, we've talked about that in the past, but I'm surprised that Hamlin has a team before KFB went to Cup.
I'm not, man. I still say Kyle learned his lesson in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, he took his lumps in that Xfinity Series, boy.
Yep.
So yeah, this is got Denny Hamlin's retirement written all over it. Whether he brings FedEx with him someday or not, or whatever that looks like. I mean, it's going to stay in the Joe Gibbs family. So
yeah,
we'll see. This is like what Hamlin's doing right here. It's just what Tony Stewart did 10 years ago or whatever. How long? Oh, it's more than 10 years ago now. 11,
right.
12.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan's fronting all this cash, and Denny gets to slap his name on the team.
Yep.
So
the only difference is Denny's not driving the car right now, but
not right now, but he will be. Yep.
Yep. If he didn't have the contract with JGR, he'd be over there. So
yeah, he'll be driving for this team someday.
Yep,
maybe not a year from now, maybe 2. I don't know.
I mean, it's a nice backup plan for Denny. If JGR sends him packing, he's got a place to go.
Yeah, so. I don't know why you would send him packing, but yeah, you're right.
Well,
it's a good relationship.
JGR. I mean, one bad season's all going to take at JGR.
Yeah,
one bad year they send you.
Well, and Harrison Burton's going to be a nice, affordable option.
Yeah,
for them.
I mean, who knows? Maybe with this affiliation deal, maybe Harrison gets a start in 23-11 and then moves into Hamlin's spot down the road. Who knows?
Possibly.
Lots of options here.
There's not a lot of room at the end at TRD, right, Eric?
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, TRD responded to Tony Stewart. James.
So good.
David Wilson, president of TRD. Defended his company. NBC Sports has the article. I'll read through the whole quote because it's pretty good. Let's see. Here's what I'll say, and I'll keep it brief because I could go on forever on this topic. Number one, we're delighted that Ford has made the decision to invest in driver development. I am certainly not going to judge their model or critique it. I'm just glad they're here. They're there because it's a win for the industry and a win for all the PR speak. I'm quite comfortable. We are committed to the program, the investments that we've made. We have never held back a driver that's been in our program and has wanted to do something else or drive someone else's car. Never. And we've given drivers the opportunity that they would not have had. Christopher Bell would not be sitting in the 20 car next season. One of the best teams in the entire sport, were it not for Toyota. Eric Jones, Daniel Suarez, they're sitting on national championships in NASCAR largely as a function of the relationship that we have and the help that we have provided these young kids. So as I said earlier, certainly one of the motivations for us to expand our footprint in the Cup Garage and partner with Denny Hamlin, Michael Jordan, is overtime to add some seats for some of these young kids. Someone asked earlier a question, and I'll speak very plainly. We don't have anybody right now that is ready to go in a Cup car in terms of our young kids. The other thing I'll just remind everybody is most of these young kids who look like rock stars at 13 are never going to sit in a NASCAR Cup car. Never. The ladder narrows, the higher you climb it. It becomes more competitive, as Denny referenced earlier. The jump between Xfinity and Cup, it is immense. It is immense. Most kids are not going to make it. Having said that, what I'm most proud of is that every one of these young people that we have a relationship with, and we have the relationship with their families. We treat them with respect. They are not a commodity. They are not indentured servants. That's just our culture. We're excited to have some extra seats down the road when we have some folks that earn their way into an opportunity.
Good Lord.
Oh, you Tony Stewart fanboy, for God's sakes. I'll give him this. There's been guys that have been in the Toyota pipeline that have left it. I mean,
yeah.
I don't, if you were in Eric Jones's position coming up, would you have left Toyota? I mean, you've got everything, and yeah, it fell apart. But Bubba Wallace took the decision to move. They let him go.
And brought him back. It's coming back. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Kyle Larson was a Toyota guy. They let him go.
Yeah. Wasn't William Byron was too? Wasn't he any run for Kyle?
Yeah, William Byron drove for Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean,
Noah Gragson.
Yeah, Noah Gragson. So I don't disagree with them. I mean, these guys, it's kind of like, so let me give you an example here. My boys right now are playing hockey as, 8-year-old kids. One of my kids wants to be a goalie, and I've explained to him, that you're trying to get into a position that there are, however many teams in the NHL. they each have one goalie that they start generally and one guy that sits on the bench. You got 2 opportunities to make a team. There's a lot fewer opportunities there, but you still take that chance because you have a chance to be great in that position. And that's the same thing here. You either take the shot with Toyota and know what you're getting into as you get into it, that if you don't perform, you're getting the boot, or you go race for somebody else. And these guys have the decision to make. It's their choice. And I mean, I don't want to bash any of the manufacturers in the sport. I'm glad with the ones we have. I wish we had some more.
Yeah, me too. And I will just add too that Toyota doesn't. It's not an equal opportunity at Toyota. We better make sure we say that, because Eric Jones didn't get what Chris Bell got on the way up. It's a different financial ball game.
Yeah.
Chris Bell is the most expensive development driver in the history of NASCAR.
Right.
I mean, millions and millions of dollars. That's why he's getting the 20 seat. It's not strictly based on performance. It's the investment. And unfortunately, at Joe Gibbs Racing, you've got an all-star lineup. You got to bring the next guy up, and somebody's got to go.
Well, and I'll still argue against Tony in that I think Ford's done not a great job of bringing up development drivers over the years versus Toyota. Toyota's done a great job with it, and they've had butts to fill the seats. And, Ford's in a good position this year. They've got Chase Briscoe coming up. They've got Austin Cindric. They've actually done a good job for right now, but prior to that, they weren't. Their development program was Roush. What did that get them? It got him Ricky Stenhouse Jr. It got him Trevor Bayne. I mean, it got him.
Well, listen, man. Brad Keselowski is a Chevy transplant.
Yeah.
Joey Logano's a Toyota transplant.
Yep.
They're racing for a championship on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. Now
that's true.
Stuart Haas is starting to fill up with some Ford guys, but I mean,
we learned from Chase Briscoe just how close that Stuart Haas ride in the Xfinity Series was to going away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, where's the development there? Ford, jump in there, give them some funding so that they can continue to develop.
More than one car. I understand. Oh, yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you, bud.
I mean, I'd love to see Stuart Haas have a major presence in the Xfinity Series. I'd love to see. Shoot, there's no Fords in the Xfinity Series.
Yep, it's damn expensive.
Yeah. So, all right. Is that it for the news?
I think so, bud. Yep.
All right. Let's talk picks. We'll run through the race picks really quick first, James.
Okay.
So you had Kevin Harvick as your pick for Texas. You got a point there over my Chase Elliott. But I picked Ryan Blaney over your Tyler Reddick and got a point. So we were even there, right?
Got the K on Reddick, yes.
And then, you did. And then at Martinsville, you picked Denny Hamlin over my Martin Truex, which Truex was looking pretty good there for a while.
He was, yep.
But I picked Clint Boyer over Matt DiBenedetto. So where we're at, we are 45-36. I'm leading after 35 races, which means technically I would clinch.
You clinched in Texas, technically.
Yeah, but I'm throwing a wrench into the things here. So what we're going to do here for the championship, final race, each win is worth 5 points. So if you get the win, you get 5 points. Now, let me be clear, James. You only get a point if you beat the other person. You only get 5 points if they win.
Yes.
So
yes. I understood.
Yeah, okay. So the only way that you could actually beat me is to pick the same guy as the championship driver and the race winner. Because what we're going to do is we're going to pick the champion and we're going to pick the race winner.
In, man.
So you have to make one pick if you're going to do this. And based on that, I will let you pick first for both instead of just.
You're going to allow me a chance to catch up.
I'm going to allow you a chance to catch up. And then if you
Okay.
win, I'm going to hold it against you for all eternity.
All right. Well,
next year we're going to come up with a better system. But James gets the first pick. Who's your pick for the champion, James? And I'm assuming he's going to be your race winner too.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. So I've been really hemming and hawing a little bit. But
I'm excited about this because I think I know where you're going.
Yeah, I'm going to go with what my gut says. And my gut initially was Joey Logano, and I'm going to stick with it.
Wow, okay.
Although I'm starting to really like Brad Keselowski.
And you're picking him as your race winner then too?
I'm going to you're boxing me in, so I'm going to have to take Joey both ways. Yep.
That puts me in a tough position because I thought you were going to go with Brad, and so I had my backup over Brad.
So you just got to get one right. Either way.
I just have to get one right.
So you've got a chance to spread it out.
I am going to spread it out actually, but I'm not doing it for that reason. I'm going to go with my gut and my original pick, and I'm going to go Denny Hamlin as the 2020 champion.
Wow. Okay.
And probably a mistake because it's probably going to be Brad. And my race winner is going to be Kevin Harvick. Because I think Kevin Harvick will do the same thing he did when he got penalized for the rear window and then went to Phoenix and won. I think he's going to stick it to everybody and go and dominate this race and win it.
Yep.
And
there you go.
yeah,
Wow.
there you go.
Okay.
So let's talk about the Final Four, James. Again, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and who's the other guy?
Logano, Elliott, Hamlin, and Keselowski.
There we go. Jesus. Those are our guys. You're going Joey Logano. What's your gut though? I mean, you think it's gonna be Joey, or you think Brad's got?
I really liked the fact that Joey won early and going into Phoenix. He's got all this time and he's won the last race there, and this Penske team seems to be really good with this package. I just think it lines up really nicely for Joey. But Brad getting in has caused me some pause.
Right.
And I know Joey Logano is the least popular pick. I'm not dumb.
Is there anybody?
Happy.
Is there anybody that you'd be disappointed out of this Final Four if they won it?
Man, no.
I mean, is there anybody here that doesn't deserve it this year?
They all deserve it. No, they all deserve it.
Because I pulled it up and I looked at it. We put a lot of emphasis on winning now.
Yeah.
With this current system. So Brad Keselowski, 4 wins on the season.
Good year.
Chase Elliott, 4 wins on the season. Joey Logano, 3 wins on the season. Denny Hamlin, 7 wins on the season. So Denny would be your favorite based on that.
Yeah.
I don't think Denny's the favorite coming into this race. I agree with you that I think Denny's team's going to do what Denny's team does, and they're going to choke in this race.
It's been a theme.
Either Denny will or his team will. They'll slap a giant piece of tape on the front of the car or something.
It's one of two things here, Eric. They're either going to choke or it's time. It's time to win one. Because they're not going to meddle their way around there. It's one of the two. I think one of the two outcomes is going to happen for them.
This is the guy I'm cheering for to win, just because I would like, love or hate Denny. I'm tipsy with Denny. I don't know. Some days I really love Denny. Some days I really just can't stand him. But the legacy that he's got in NASCAR, he deserves to have a title. That's the only thing left in his resume is a championship.
Only thing he doesn't have. Yep.
And obviously it's winding down on his career, so he's running out of chances to get it. So I want to see Denny Hamlin win the championship.
Yeah.
That being said, my other sentimental favorite is Chase Elliott, partially because it'd be nice to see Chevy get a championship.
It's going to shake it up really big time.
And we talked about Chase as an elite driver now. I just don't think he's done enough to really deserve the title.
I think he's the longest shot here. I think
he's the young kid. He's the one you expect to choke going into this, but I don't know. They just proved this weekend that they can win in a clutch situation finally. So maybe he's.
You know what, Eric? Chase Elliott ain't scared of anybody.
No, he's not.
That team ain't scared of anybody either.
He's cool as ice, man. He doesn't get nervous at all.
Yeah, so that scares me a little bit. I think he is the longest shot here, though. I don't.
I agree.
If we're dividing this up at 100%, I'm giving Chase 10. And I'm splitting the Penskes. I don't know where we're splitting them, but that Penske team is going to be so tough with 2 horses in this race.
Yeah.
I think for me,
but maybe they get in each other's way. Maybe the fact that the team doesn't have just one guy to focus on causes a problem.
Yep.
So I think what the best thing about this is all 4 of these guys are really good at this track.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It's got a chance.
I don't know. Chase doesn't. Does Chase have a win here?
I don't know. He doesn't have a win here,
but he's run really well here.
Yeah, unless he's won in the Xfinity Series, but I can look that up.
Yeah.
But if you filibuster for me, I can definitely find out.
I know he's run really well here, and he screwed Denny up a couple years ago, and Chase has been strong at this track. He's had really good runs here, so I know that he will be competitive. Again, I agree. I think he's the long shot of the 4, but I think did I filibuster long enough? I'm not good at this.
Well, I stumbled across Casey Elliott. I did not know that there was such a thing as a Casey Elliott.
Interesting.
So good. I was like, hey, there's Chase Elliott. No, it's Casey Elliott.
I have a really tough time though, James, between Joey and Brad as to which one really is the favorite.
Yeah, I think for me,
Joey just hasn't done enough lately, but he has. He just won a couple weeks ago, and
I know.
Like you said, he won here earlier this season. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, I know. I want my sentimental favorite. I want to see Brad maybe get this one if I had to pick between any of these guys.
We got to cheer for the Michigan boy, man.
Yeah, Michigan guy. That's right. But I'm scared of Joey.
Yeah.
He's just arrogant enough and doesn't give a dang about anybody to go out there and steal this dang thing. So
yeah, I'm with you though. There is not a single driver here that I feel doesn't deserve it, and there's not a single driver here that I'm going to go, oh man, they won it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is good. Either way, we're going to get
it's a nice strong Final Four.
I like this Final Four. Yeah, there's no heavy favorite because with Harvick being out, there's if Harvick was coming in here, I don't even know if I'd pick him honestly over Chase or Brad. But
I'd pick Harvick obviously I picked him to win the race. I'd pick him for the championship if I could.
Yeah. I just the Penske guys. There's something with this rules package.
It's true.
And they like you
it's
said,
true. But guess who finished second at New Hampshire?
Joey.
Denny Hamlin. So
yeah, I know.
And he ran really well all day.
Yeah, it's all on the line for Denny Hamlin. I mean, this is honestly, this is Denny Hamlin's championship.
It is.
I just think it's
has
Penske.
been all
I think
season.
It's Penske's to lose. And with Harvick eliminated, this is Denny Hamlin's championship to go get. But I just think it's Penske's to lose. I think they're the favorites.
I agree.
Either one you pick. I'll say Joey does it, and that's not going to be popular. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
Not that I'm rooting for him.
Don't gotta apologize to me. I love Joey.
I know something about Joey scares me enough that he's gonna pull this off.
Yeah.
And it's really gonna tick everybody off.
Yeah. What do you think? Brad Keselowski's lead and Joey Logano's behind him going into the final turn.
Oh man.
Does Joey
Are we gonna keep doing that? It's gonna be the new thing.
If Joey Logano is in Kevin Harvick's position
Eric, do you remember when we said
Joey's wrecking Brad to win this championship?
Oh,
right?
for sure. He doesn't care. Yeah, he doesn't care.
For sure.
Remember when we said that Brad got the short end of the stick on the crew chief swap at Penske with Bullins?
Yeah.
And look at him now, racing for a championship. But Paul Wolf on the box, he's got a title for Joey. He won a title with Brad, so that's interesting.
It's gonna be a fun race.
Yeah, this is good. I'm looking forward to it.
Did you find that Chase Elliott stat, or did you give up?
Yeah, no wins at Phoenix.
Okay.
No wins at Phoenix.
All right.
Yep, we're good.
Fantasy League, probably don't need to talk about that because some loser won this week, right?
I did, yeah.
Nice. Where are you at now in the standings?
Well, I'm pretty much locked into third. There's no more room for me.
Where are you in the playoff standings? Are you ahead of Todd?
I am ahead of Todd.
Nice.
I have 1 week to go, and I can lord it over him the entire offseason if I can do it. I'm holding on to let me see here. It is a 100. Excuse me, geez, Pete. 1,679 to 1,625. So that's how close it is. Eric, you're not that far off. I mean, you're 80 points behind me, so you could still.
I had 2 bad weeks here.
Overall, Todd's pretty much clinched. He's 100, almost 130 ahead of Ranger. Then I'm third, and it's not even close. But Eric, you could leapfrog to fourth. You're only 70 points out of fourth place. So
nice.
You have a good weekend here. You're good. But yeah, I did win this one, and Todd was right behind me. Then Ranger was third, but it's too little, too late. It looks like Todd's going to win the whole dang thing.
Yeah.
So
we'll just ban him from it next year.
Yep.
Sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
Yep.
James, got any shout outs today?
My buddy Derek, had a good conversation with him on Twitter about the whole Kevin Harvick thing, and it was really good back and forth. I appreciate that. It was kind of cool. He was reaching out and he was showing me some of the NASCAR swag he's picking up. So that was just kind of a good conversation, man. I enjoyed the Twitter banter going back and forth. Really cool.
That's the one that got the sheet metal?
He got the sheet metal, Jimmy Johnson.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think he'll be sharing that on social media, he said. But he sent me some cool pictures, and we just kind of got talking NASCAR, and that's one of my favorite things. That's why I do this podcast. Yep. So just a lot of fun, a lot of good conversation about the Kevin Harvick deal this week, which was, I think really good. And even though some people annoy me, not you,
right?
But no, it was good, man. No, he's a good dude.
Yeah, I want to get into that sheet metal deal, but I don't know. It's a can of worms I don't want to get into, especially because that stuff's garbage. I mean, it's just like the tires that they sell at the track for $25 a pop or $50 a pop. It's garbage. It's stuff that's going in the dumpster, but us idiots are going to go out there and spend a bunch of money on it. And
NASCAR fans know, man. Fans know.
They had a I forget it. I think it was a Dale Jr. or a Jimmy Johnson, the name from above the door on Hendrick's website for sale. It was like $500, and it's like, No way. I could get some cool diecast cars for that, and
Yeah, for sure.
at least then I could play with them.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't have from Smoke is I don't have sheet metal. I'm trying to think if I even ever did. The only thing I mean, I have a chunk of Daytona International Speedway, so that's kind of close from when they did the repave.
Right.
But no sheet metal for me.
I don't have any of that stuff.
I've got a bag of Kyle Larson's Burnout
Yeah.
from when he won Michigan.
Yeah. I brought home some confetti from Kentucky, I think it was, and then it didn't keep, so I threw that out.
Yeah.
I've got some lug nuts from Pit Road. That's it. I don't know whose they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. So, my shout out real quick, Barron Speedway. We've talked about him plenty of times on the podcast. He'll enjoy getting another shout out. He got a new camera, and he's got some just cool shots from his track. Nice bokeh, if you know photography stuff. Just looks really cool. So it looks like you're there. It's pretty neat. So
that dude is getting good.
Yeah, it's some good stuff. And he also clued me in on another guy that's building a replica track or a miniature track like that. So I love following Barron just to see all the other people that are doing it, because I've always stuck at finding them, but I found several through him. So Barron Speedway. If you guys haven't checked him out on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, I don't know if he's on Facebook. He's on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, he's on Twitter and Instagram, and he's getting popular in the NASCAR community. I see Elijah Burke liking a lot to his stuff. Yep. So yeah, he's running in those circles now.
Yeah, there'll be a time soon when he doesn't remember who we are anymore because he's a big shot. He's tooling around with all the NASCAR teams and stuff.
I remember being in that one fantasy league that one time.
Yep, right, exactly. So
yeah.
James, where can they find you on social media if they want to chat with you about Phoenix?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. Our podcast is on Facebook at facebook.com/TheSuperspeedway. Just a heads up, if we have any show announcements, that's where we put them, is on Facebook, because we announced last week that we wouldn't be doing the podcast. So if you want to subscribe there, follow along there, that's where you'll find out what's going on in the show. We don't post a whole lot on there, but when we do, that's where you'll find it. You can find us on the web at thesuperspeedway.com. You can find past show notes, links to articles we've discussed in today's episode and past episodes, some old race coverage, photos, all kinds of stuff on there to check it out. You can listen to old podcasts there as well. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and SoundCloud, wherever you found us today. We hope you subscribe and continue to listen. As soon as we hit the off season, my hope is to change some stuff up. So the RSS feed might go wonky and stuff, but I'm hoping to maybe get us on a different platform, get us a few more places so you have a little bit more option to listen. We can expose ourselves to a little bit more fans. I don't know if that's the right way to word that. We are not exposing ourselves to anybody, just for the record. It always just tanks at the end. I should just stop talking and just end the show.
Come on, Ron.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, there'll probably be some changes coming in the off season. When we do hit the off season, James and I are going to take a break for a couple of weeks unless some news breaks. But we'll stick around here and be here with you a bunch during the off season as well. We won't go away completely. So if you want to help out the show and help us get to the track when we are once again allowed to go to the track, you can become a patron at patreon.com/thesuperspeedway. It feels like it's been forever. We had the craziest 2020 with a giant gap in the middle thanks to COVID. Didn't look like we were going to get a full season in, and now we are. We have one race to go to finish the Cup Series schedule for 2020. We will crown a champion next weekend in Phoenix. We will be back next week to discuss the Final Four, the final race of the year, and congratulate the 2020 NASCAR champion. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.